Welcome back, Bree from Bree Beers and Associates, and today we're talking about these stimulus payments again. So there has been so much chaos around these stimulus payments that I see on social media. My favorite is some people saying they wish they could have declined their stimulus payment because they didn't want additional taxable income. There's so many things wrong with that statement. We're gonna not dig into it totally, but I want to make sure we come on here and kind of clear up what this stimulus actually is from a tax point of view and what it means to you as a taxpayer. Quick disclaimer, we are recording this on January 30th of 2021. So just in case something new has come out down the road, make sure that you are checking back for updates and updated videos. Let's start with a quick refresher of what is a stimulus payment. So stimulus payment is technically called an economic impact payment. So one and the same. And under the March 20th CARES Act, these economic impact payments were granted for $1,200 per taxpayer and $500 per dependent if you made under a certain income threshold. And then in December, under the Economic Aid Act, we were granted another $600 per person, regardless of taxpayer or dependency. And so these stimulus payments are being directly deposited or mailed to us via check from the IRS. Right, so like I said in the intro, the question or the misinformation I'm seeing the most is, are these payments taxable income to me? And the really simple answer is no. They are not taxable income to you. They are actually a prepayment of a credit you're going to qualify for based on your 2020 tax return. And we'll get into that in just a second. But what happened is back when CARES Act was passed in March of 2020, our government said, we want to give our taxpayers, our citizens, a credit on their 2020 tax return based on this criteria. And then let's go ahead and just prepay it to them now instead of waiting until they file their tax return to get that credit, because they need it now. We're in the middle of a pandemic. So it's basically a prepayment of your tax credit that you will get on your 2020 tax return. That brings me to the next one. I hear a lot of people saying, well, all they're doing is they're not giving us money, they're just giving us money early. But no, this recovery rebate credit was a brand new created credit just for pandemic, just because of COVID, just because of Corona. So it's not a credit that already existed. It's not anything that you would have gotten regardless. It is something that the government created specifically in 2020 for your 2020 tax return, and then were generous enough to pay us out early because we needed it back in March and April. So what does it mean for your tax return? Well, when you file your 1040, your individual tax return for the year of 2020, there will be a rebate recovery credit form. And on that form, it'll basically be a reconciliation of what you qualified for under both the CARES Act and the Economic Aid Act and what you actually received. So for example, if you are it's just you, then you should have gotten $1,200 under the CARES Act. You should have got another $600 under the Economic Aid Act, so a total of $1,800. Then you're gonna put in what you actually received. This is where it gets fun, guys. So back when we received these payments, within 15 days of receipt, you should have received a notice. The issue is the notice did not come from the IRS like a normal W-2 or 1099 official looking form. It came from the White House. And so a lot of people saw it, said, great, yeah, I got my money, and they tossed it. Okay, well now we're being told you should have this form. This form is required for your filing. Don't panic. I don't think that's going to be necessarily the case. However, you are going to have to prove or include in your tax return how much you actually received. Okay? So again, we decided you qualify for $1,800. You have to put in how much you actually received. So let's say I received both of them. I received the full $1,800. Then what's due to me now is nothing. Let's say on the other hand, I was due the $1,800 in our example, but let's say I only received the second one. I never received the first one. I'm gonna write $600 on my form, and then I'm gonna get a $1,200 credit when I file my 2020 tax return. So essentially this extra form that we're getting that reconciles what we were supposed to get versus what we received is a way for us to get any money that we didn't get when we were supposed to, right? It's a way for us to play catch up. However, my next concern that I'm getting is, oh my gosh, I was overfunded. You know, I had a dependent in 2019 and I don't have one this year. What's going to happen? They gave me an extra $500. The guidance specifically states that you will not have to pay back an overpayment. All right, so that's great. So that will apply to those of you, like I said, that maybe had a dependent in 2019 who's no longer a dependent in 2020. Maybe you were under the threshold in 2019, so you qualified, but you had a great year in 2020 and you no longer qualify under those rules. So maybe you technically shouldn't have got it. Doesn't matter the reason. The point is you will not have to pay back any overpayment. If you guys have any questions about what we talked about today, go ahead and leave a comment below. And then I highly, highly suggest you head on over to our Facebook community, Money, Taxes, and Finance for Small Business, because these topics are what we talk about on a regular basis and have live trainings on every week. You can access that group by clicking the link in the description box. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and while you're loving on me hard, go ahead and hit the notification bell so you never miss a future video.